with intriguing events on the campaign trail. I have always thought most politicians are dramatic. But considering the some of the theatrics that we've seen this week, and of course I do know that there will be more drama along the way as we count down to the elections. But before we begin tonight, let's give you some of the major highlights for tonight.
Not running for 100 yards or 500 yards or two. I'm running for presidency.
It may be a race, but not a marathon, Tinubu says to critics as he confirms he is fit and healthy.
By this pronouncement today, the stage is set.
Court declares Basio to APC governorship candidate for Cross River State. And wait for it. What national targets are up for tonight? Are they doable or bogus? It is looking like Tinubu's promise of renewed hope for Nigerian and the people includes a fit and healthy president. Coming straight from the horse's mouth, the APC presidential candidate Ballot Tinubu had, while addressing party stalwarts and supporters during a forum in Kano, promised an improved dispensation for Nigerians if given the mandate to lead the country come 2023. But aside the promises and pledge to deliver on the party's manifesto, which was also presented quite recently to the public, Asiwaju took a couple of minutes to address the issue of his health, and to those criticizing him as being feeble and frail, he had this to say.
People, I've been standing before you. I'm not running for 100 yards or 500 yards or two. I'm running for presidency. I'm not competing for WWE wrestling. People need to go out there and say, see, go. I am standing before you. Do I look like a sick man?
Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Calabar, presided over by Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu, has dismissed the case filed by Senator John Owaneno against the All Progressives Congress, INEC, and Prince Basio II over the party's 2023 governorship primary election in Cross River State for lacking in merit. Justice Ojukwu subsequently announced that Prince Basio II met all the guidelines of the party's constitution, the federal constitution, and the 2022 Electoral Act, and was also cleared by the National Working Committee of the party to contest for the election as the party's candidate.
Not a personal victory to Senator Otu as such, but I would say to all Cross Riverians, a victory, because by this pronouncement today, the stage is set for Senator Basio Otu to step into the shoes that we usher him to Government House, Cross River State. As lawyers, we are trained to obey the order of the court, but I think we'll go upstairs. We are filing appeal immediately. It's a time for us to go back and build and unite the party, which is the foundation of why I ever came to become chairman.
Another gale of defections has hit the All Progressives Congress, APC, and the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, in Katsina State, as no fewer than 12,963 members of the party have defected to the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state. The defectors, who are from Jibia and Kayata local government areas of the state, included the former special advisor to Governor Aminu Bello Masari on skills acquisition and vocational training, Aminu Lawa. This is coming barely 9 days after the defection of the former secretary to the state government and governorship aspirant of the APC, Dr. Mustapha Mohammed Inuwa, to the PDP. Now let's get right into it. My guest for tonight represents the Labour Party and will be speaking for the party as it concerns its candidates across board for the 2023 national election. He will also speak to key issues of national concerns and interest whilst pushing for your support and your votes for his party in next year's election. Julius Abure, barrister Julius Abure, I should say, is the national chairman of Labour Party. Labour Party, the new but not so new kid on the block, or should I say repackaged and upgraded party. Anyways, it's good to have you here, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to the Ballot.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
So I understand your party is expected to officially kick-start its campaign later tomorrow, somewhere in neighboring Nasarawa State, or is that on hold for now, saying that your presidential candidate has been out and about rallying support for flood victims in Nigeria? In fact, he did call on other candidates to suspend their campaigns as well. But making that call while yet to formally begin his own campaign is one of the reasons that some critics say that the Labour Party is politicizing empathy, and that your candidate is doing what they described as mere tokenism. Some would say that you as Labour Party can afford to be empathetic all you want, but does that give you the right, Labour Party, to tell other candidates how to respond to such disasters, whether emotively or in any other way for that matter?
Well, like you said, the presidential candidate of my party, after due consultation with the party hierarchy and party leadership, we decided to shelve the campaign and then identify with those communities that are ravaged by flood. And currently we are moving around those communities. We are undertaking assessment of those communities. We're also commiserating with them and also providing them with relief materials, because we feel that the situation is unfortunate, because most communities in Nigeria today are flooded, and we feel that this is a patriotic cause to undertake, especially at this time of our history.
So your campaigns is not taking up tomorrow, as earlier applied?
Yes, our campaigns are not taking up tomorrow, most likely on Saturday, after we have covered substantial parts of touring the affected communities.
And do you agree you don't have a right to tell others how to go about their campaign?
The position is for the public to decide. It's for the public to. We have stated our opinion.
Labour Party recommend?
Yes, we have stated our opinion. We've stated how we feel. And therefore, it is for the public opinion to look at it and make their decision. For us as Labour Party, we have shifted our campaigns because we feel that this period is a period we need to identify with flood victims. We have
and not just whip up sentiment.
Yes, and so we have suggested that it is the proper thing to do at this point in time, to identify with the vulnerable, to identify with those people who have lost their homes, to identify with people who lost their lives in this process. And what is even more, I can describe that as a national disaster. And obviously, countries that
no doubt, national emergency.
It's a national emergency. And if a government can, even government like we see all over the world, can afford to even shut down national assignments in order to.
As a matter of fact, the president has called on the minister to forward to him a national plan on averting future flood disasters in Nigeria. But let's just quickly move on, Mr.
So it's not just about sentiment; it's about what we ought to do. And I think that we have said that we are going to provide leadership by example, and this is one way we feel that we can begin to show leadership by example.
Okay. I'll take that. Mr. Chairman, so according to the final list of candidates for the elections released by INEC on October 4, I think, the Labour Party would not be having candidates in 28 senatorial zones, 128 House of Representative seats, and for the governor seat, I think it's just Ogun State or so. Is that not likely to, going to rub off on your national appeal as a party?
Well, currently we are working on how to see that we get other candidates on board, because we were shut out by the portal of INEC, and the system didn't work well, and that was why we couldn't feed all the candidates. So currently we are in court to get court orders to see how we can get our candidates uploaded, I'm sure that when that is done.
Or did you conduct primaries for these zones and elections?
Yes, primaries were duly conducted and observed by INEC. So I'm very sure that in a short while we'll be able to make up for the shortfall. But I want to say clearly that this will not affect the presidential election. For us, we believe that once we're able to win the presidency, every other thing follows. You know, I appreciate the fact that you need a House of Rep members, you need senators in the House of Representatives to be able to push through your programs.
Yes.
But we are very sure that if we're able to win all that we have put in, be able to control majority in both houses, and therefore be able to control government.
It does seem, Mr. Chairman, that the Labour Party is keenly, and I won't use the word overtly, but it does seem that you're very, focused on the presidential race and just the presidential elections.
No, not really. Our candidates are all over the place campaigning. Our governorship candidates are campaigning. Our senators are all over the place.
Name three of them that are as popular as Peter Obi from any of the states.
No, it will appear that Peter Obi is most popular.
That's my point exactly.
Apparently because he is the presidential candidate. And I want to say for PDP, Atiku may be said to be more popular. It's a natural phenomenon for presidential candidates to be more popular than their governorship candidate. And
I could count you down to about 10 10 governorship candidates on the PDP. If you ask me, same for APC. But that's not the point, really.
You can't. Some of those parties have been in power and they have stolen funds and they have been in power and they have government machinery to propagate a party that has several governors. Every day they are on the papers, they have television stations and all of that. So you can't compare it with candidates who do not have television stations at their disposal. If not for the magnanimity of NTA today, I won't be on this station.
Well, Labour Party is not only is not the only one missing candidates from. I think the NNPP is also missing 4 governorship candidates, and then a couple of Senate seats too, and House of Representatives zone as well. So it will seem that your brothers in arms with NNPP in this ship. But let's quickly move ahead now, and I have listened keenly to your presidential candidate, and I have heard the subject of trust. More times than I can count this election season from your presidential candidate. His belief, and I reckon that of your party as well, is that you're selling trust to Nigerians first and foremost. That Nigerians can trust in you. But sir, you and I know that trust can be broken. So tell me something. Or rather, let me tell you something. Nigerians are more interested in the how. How does your party intend to navigate the rather treacherous and murky waters of economic downturns exacerbated by global events and turn our labor surplus into an advantage for productivity and development?
Yes, well, that's why our cardinal program today is how to is centered on moving the country from consumption to being a production country. The reasons why we have a lot of challenges in our economy is because we are not productive. The government over the years have not been able to create the enabling environment for productive activity to be able to take roots. We are not practically all that we consume here. We import, and once you begin to emphasize more of your imports rather than exports, then you find yourself in this vicious circle. And therefore, our cardinal program is moving the country from consumption to production. And my candidates over time have explained how this can be brought about, how we can harness the vast land that we have in the country vis-a-vis the vast human resource that we have to be able to produce.
And it talks about agriculture,
Yes, talked about agriculture, how vast land can be, the vast land that we have at our disposal and the human resource that we have can be put together to be able to get products that we can exports, and be a great country. I want to say very, very clearly that most of the countries of the world who have been able to make progress in their economic development are those countries that emphasize agriculture. Israel, for instance, and a host of other countries. The economic base is on agriculture, and therefore, for us, we feel that the natural resources that we have, which is our vast, fertile land, and the huge human resource that we have, can be harnessed together to be able to reposition the economy. If for nothing else, a lot of our people are hungry, a lot of our people are poor. If for nothing else, we'll be able to produce food and give to people to eat, and then satisfy their hunger, and then you move on from there to another stage.
You know, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate all of what you've said. I mean, most of course, that these are things that we have to do as a country. But, you know, like I said earlier, and insinuated, it's in the how do we move from the consumption that you've talked about to the production? I mean, not just theoretical now when we say it, you know, like a rhetoric or something, but then these plans, it's like building a house, and you know that you use you need like 10 blocks and 2 tippers of sand and a tipper of concrete to mix for the foundation, and having done that, you will buy 10 pieces of rod, and you know, these are the kind of layouts that we might need your candidates and your party to begin to tell Nigerians, so that we see the blueprint and that it's clear for everyone to see. I mean, maybe not everyone to understand, but when you begin to knock that into, I mean, you talk about it time and again, it begins to get clearer for some of us, people like me, to see and better appreciate. But then, let's quickly move on, and it will seem that your party is clearly in conflict over the issue of petrol subsidy in Nigeria. I know that the NLC, for one, that is the Labour, canvasses against subsidy removal. I mean, and demands transparency in subsidy regime. Meanwhile, your candidate describes the subsidy regime as organized crime, and he says he would implement full removal of petrol subsidy in Nigeria while creating workable options to cushion the impact of anticipated rise in prices. Is there a balance or a middle ground that involves the NLC, Labour Party, and your candidate on this issue of petrol subsidy?
Well, we need to look at why we have subsidy in the first instance. If we have refineries working in Nigeria, then of course you won't talk about subsidy, and that has been NLC position, that we must ensure that refineries are refurbished, new ones built, and then we'll be able to refine products for local consumption. That has been NLC position, and that not until that is done, then you can't talk about subsidy removal. And that is clearly the position of NLC, that at this stage, you can't talk about subsidy removal without adequate measures in place as to ensure that the effect is not so much on the people. Because if the subsidy is removed today, as it were, it will no doubt occasion suffering for the people. That has been NLC position. And our own position is in tandem with that position, that once the refineries are working, then of course there won't even be issue of subsidy in the first instance. And it's very clear to me and you that the issue of subsidy has become a fraud, like it's
I'm sorry to interject here, but we need to take a quick breather at this point, and when we return, we will be reviewing some issues on the ballot. We'll line up some issues, and you would help us decide if you think they're realistic or not, and if the Labour Party will be forceful in achieving maybe all of the target, or maybe none at all, within the first 4 years of your presidency, given the opportunity, to do that. Ticking the boxes is up next. Time now to allow our guests to briefly review some of the policy issues on the ballot. There are a couple of them there on the ballot. We just asked my director to put them up on the screen. There you go. They're there on the screen already. Mr. Chairman, these are all targets, within the context of the president's first 4 years in office. I mean, these are the issues on the board. Would like for you to take any of the three options available. Do you think any of them is realistic, unrealistic, or undecided? Let's begin with the first one. Food production sufficiency. If given the opportunity, to have Peter Obi presidency or a Labour Party presidency, do you think production sufficiency or food production is something you can achieve within the first 4 years of your presidency?
Obviously, it's achievable, and that's a major one of the cardinal objective of our program, and that's what we talked about, that when you move the country from consumption to production, we quickly go to yes.
Portable drinking water is another issue for us. Do you think it's another realistic area or unrealistic target for a Labour Party presidency within first 4 years of your presidency?
Well, we may be able to achieve substantial part of portable drinking water.
So you are undecided on that. Are you? Or are you sure it is realistic, or it's something you are undecided on? Can you achieve portable drinking water for all in Nigeria?
It may not be for all within 4 years.
It's not unrealistic. So for now, you're undecided on the matter.
But it's attainable.
Undecided. We'll go with undecided. For number 3 is energy sufficiency. And energy sufficiency is within the context of both crude, fuel, power, and all of that. Is that an area you think you can impact substantially to make Nigeria energy self-sufficient in 4 years?
Yes, it's a major issue that we need to pursue. Because if you are unable to get the issue of energy right, then it means that you won't be able to drive the process of moving the country from.
So energy sufficiency will take realistic then yes. for Labour Party.
Yes, we can.
Portable water is undecided for Labour Party, and finally, crude oil theft. Your candidate has talked about this time and again. Do you think it's something he can end within the first 4 years of your presidency?
That will end less than 4 years.
Fantastic. Crude oil theft, that's realistic. So that's it. I would like to thank you very much, Barrister Julius Abure, National Chairman, Labour Party, for coming on the ballot. I do wish your party and your candidate, Peter, will be the best of luck in your current campaign.
Thank you so much for having me this evening.
It is officially 123 days in our countdown to Elections Day. Please be reminded that PVC collections are currently ongoing both for old and new registrants at various designated INEC offices. If you're registered and you're yet to collect yours, please go do so. I'll see you again same time Tuesday night at 10:05 p.m. God willing. My name is Nnamdi Odipo. Bye for now.
We'll go to him.